Good morning and welcome. Here's my question for you today. Are you prepared for unexpected challenges? Are you prepared for you having to be out and not be able to function in your business? That's what we're going to talk about today. I recently had a personal experience with this. We're going to talk about it today and kind of what I've learned. Hello and welcome to Lone Orange Live. My name is Tiffany Huckelman, and I am the founder of Lone Orange, where we help solopreneurs scale their businesses beyond themselves with fewer headaches and more profit, with systems and branding, and making sure that their business is ready to scale. And I'm the host of Lone Orange Live, where I come live every Thursday to share little tidbits and thoughts and tips on running a solopreneur business. So today I want to talk about something very personal and timely. Back to the beginning of June, my family and I went on a vacation for 2 weeks. We did 1 week in one place and 1 week in another, each with two different families. And we had planned for this. My team and I had planned for this for the last couple of months. So we had all of our ducks in a row. Went swimmingly. I was pretty much able to unplug entirely. I think maybe I worked for an hour or an hour and a half each week. So that was pretty awesome. And that was just kind of jumping in a couple of areas where I needed to. So no big deal. I was happy to do it, but I was also happy that I could unplug and really enjoy my family and my vacation. And my expectation was that I was going to come back refreshed and rejuvenated, and we were going to hit the ground running and serving clients and growing our business. And instead, I came home with the souvenir of COVID. So I came home. We actually had to cut our vacation a couple days short because I came down with COVID and was really sick for the first week. So let me just put out there, COVID has disrupted many of our lives, and it's taken people we've loved from us. It's taken time and health from many of us, and I hadn't experienced it before. And so, by comparison, certainly my symptoms were mild, but for the first week, I was bedridden, and my head, I couldn't function. I couldn't think. I just didn't have that fatigue, and that brain fog was so strong that I just couldn't do anything. So that was a very unexpected challenge. I expected that week to come back and hit the ground running. My first day was scheduled to be a reentry day where I kept things light, and I was going to go through my email and kind of get settled and make a plan for the week. And then the rest of the week was full of meetings and client meetings and projects to be working on, and all that came to a screeching halt. So, as a solopreneur, here's how I dealt with that. I learned some interesting lessons, and I want to share this with you. So, when we looked at, and again, my brain was not really functioning. So, I am grateful that I have a team in place. I am grateful that my team had been running essentially without me for the previous 2 weeks. So, we were able to kind of stay in that mode. But and by we, the little part of my brain that was working and my assistant, Laura, my operations manager, Laura, had to kind of make some on the fly decisions about put things in two camps. What were the things that the team could handle? And the way that we knew what the team could handle without me is things that we already had systems for, things that they already knew how to do, ways that we could continue serving clients with projects that we already had in place, ways that we could pick up new projects if they came in, but we already had the systems in place to handle those. These were the things that the team could handle, required minimal effort on my part, but that the clients could continue to be served. And that's really important because the reality is that life is unexpected. Things happen in life all the time, and we never know when we could be taken out by an illness, a family emergency. There may be times in our business where we're not going to be able to work for a week or two, or maybe even months at a time. And as a solopreneur, where everything rests on our shoulders, that can be pretty scary and pretty daunting. One option is that the business just ceases operation. And for many solopreneurs, that will be the case because there's nothing else to do. If the business owner can't work and there aren't other things in place, there aren't other preparations in place, then the business will cease to operate. Clients won't get served, uh, money won't be made, things won't happen. And that's the glaring truth in many cases. What I want to do is help you think ahead and be prepared by learning from what I experienced over the last 3 weeks, last 5 weeks essentially, and how I was able to deal with it and things that I learned about my business that aren't ready for an unexpected challenge. So again, sorry, I kind of jumped ahead. We're going to blame that on COVID, right? But to kind of set the stage, that's why this is so important, because my business was able to run without me for, I'm going to essentially 3 weeks. Only yesterday and today did I feel like my brain was coming back online. So essentially 3 weeks, I was unexpectedly out. And my business was able to keep running to some extent. And to make that happen, we made two choices. What could the team handle and what could be put on hold? What were the things that weren't crucial to business? What could be delayed? What could wait? And what were those things that only I could do and they were going to have to wait? So the first thing were the things that the teams handled, and the team handled them beautifully. I did a little bit of work every day, but starting the second week. But even then, like, I would have a meeting and I'd be knocked out. And I'd be sleeping the rest of the day, or I'd do a meeting and a little bit of kind of project management work, and then I'd be done. So there was very little that I could do, but the team was able to keep working because we had those systems in place, and it required a little effort on my part. These were the things that were already running during my vacation, but they came into play when we had this unexpected challenge. Then there were the things that could be delayed. They were emails that didn't need to be responded to. We let people know that I was sick and that I was out, and then I would respond as soon as possible. I turned on my out of office message so that people were at least aware, even though my intent was to work as much as I could. I just needed people to be aware that my response was going to be delayed. The third category were the things that only I could do. And this is where it was really eye-opening for me. These were the things that we didn't have systems in place for. These are the things that either require truly only my brain and that are going to cease to happen when I'm not involved. So in an unexpected situation where I'm sick for a couple of weeks, or even a longer term situation, those are the things that were going to end and just have to stop. Nobody else could do them. Now, why is that? One, it was because there were things that I was still working through and still kind of experimenting with and figuring out. So I didn't have systems yet. So I couldn't delegate them. There wasn't a model or a template for the team to follow. So I learned about some of those things that couldn't happen because I didn't have those systems in place. And they brought them to my attention that these are the things that I really wanted to focus on systematizing for the future. So that was a really good lesson. My marketing is still very much heavily dependent on me. And that is it's something I've long wanted to be able to delegate and get help with more, but I haven't done that yet. That was one thing. The first live day and the first email that went out that very first week, I already had notes for from before before I left for vacation. So I already had my notes. My system that I do was in place. So I was actually able to go live, even sick as a dog, but I was able to go live. And because I had all that in place, it required minimal effort from me. I had a system in place, but I was still the only one who could do it. So I was able to do that. Then last week, I wasn't able to do it. I didn't have notes. I didn't have an idea. I thought, well, I should be able to come up with something to talk about. And I wasn't, because my brain wasn't functioning like that. So, so that was really interesting it wasn't new, but it was interesting to experience. So I had to figure out a plan B. And again, I didn't have a system for a plan B. So I had to figure out a plan B. I ended up sharing a previous video, and we had still made the notifications that I was going live, and I just couldn't by that morning. So I handled it, but I still had to do it. This week, I still wasn't feeling 100%, but I had enough in me to think about these lessons and think about what I wanted to share with you so that you can avoid having these things face you unexpectedly and completely shut down your business. So I can now make a list of the tasks that were required, that were reliant on me, but that I know that if I worked a little bit harder and focused on getting them systematized, I could get other people's help and they could run without me in the case of another episode where I couldn't work. Um, so so those were kind of the categories. What could other people handle because we already had them in place? What could be put on hold and they wouldn't be hurt by that? And what was I going to have to do and therefore couldn't be done because I couldn't do them? So think about that for your business. If you were to get sick for the next week or two or three, where would things fall? Are there things that could keep going even without your help? Are there things that could be automated? Are there things that could be systematized? Are there things that could be delegated right now that could still go on even while you were out? And if there are not things yet, first of all, it's okay. I'm not here to guilt you or shame you. I'm here to bring this awareness to you so you can be prepared for an unexpected challenge. What are those things that you could systematize, delegate, be prepared for with a little bit of effort and a little bit of systematization? What are the things that could be put on hold? Now, those are probably, there are going to be things that you could figure out. I stopped going to my Toastmasters meetings because I couldn't handle that. Those can be put on hold without much repercussion. And then what are those things that are just going to stop happening? And the things that are going to stop happening, are you okay with that? Or are there things that you need to figure out how you do them, document those systems so that in the event that you are out, you can at least get other people's help, or you can do it with minimal thought, with minimal effort on your part. So, as a solopreneur, a lot of responsibility falls on your shoulders. Your clients, the work that you're doing for your clients is so important and so important for your clients. And they need you. A big part that I had to deal with, especially in the beginning, was the guilt and the frustration and the fear, the disappointment. All of that was weighing on me and probably not helping me get better because I was just beside myself that I couldn't be at full capacity serving my clients. But I couldn't. I had to put my health first. I knew I wasn't going to be any good for anybody else if I didn't get better. And I wasn't going to get better if I didn't rest and take care of myself. So I knew I had to do that. But where are you at in your business? Is there one system right now that with a little bit of work right now could actually still keep functioning, even if you had to be out for a couple of weeks? Be prepared for this unexpected because the unexpected is by definition unexpected. You can sit there and think, I don't have time for that, or I'll do that later, or that won't happen to me. I didn't think it happened to me either, but it did. And while I sit here and talk about systems with you all day long and how the systems were able to let me leave and my business keep running for weeks at a time while I go on vacation, that's all planned. Things still needed to run without planning. So I want you to think about this. This is a little bit of insurance. It doesn't have to be a big, elaborate thing for you. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. Pick one thing that with a little bit of effort, you could have ready to work without you in place. And then once you get that one, then get the next one. Even if you don't have team members yet, what could be done by your spouse or a good friend who does a little bit of work because they can follow a checklist to still keep things working. How are you going to let people know? How are you going to communicate if something does happen? So just thinking through all those things, just spending a couple hours or maybe an afternoon thinking about some of this, you can be better prepared for the unexpected. So I hope that you can probably still hear my gravelly voice a little bit, still definitely dealing with some of the side effects. But I hope that this is helpful for you. And I hope that it gives you something to think about as a solopreneur. I know it's hard. I know it's hard to anticipate what could happen, but that's the idea. That's why we have insurance. That's why we have to think about these things. And especially as a solopreneur, this is important because you are the one and only in your business. So I do want to invite you though, as a solopreneur, if you aren't already, come join us um, in the solo collaborative community. This is a free Facebook community for solopreneurs where we can talk about this stuff. How do you handle this? How do you deal with this kind of stuff? We have networking meetings. We have a mastermind group. It's all built for solopreneurs because running a solopreneur business is very different than running any other kind of business. So I'm going to put that link down below. Feel free to come and join us at the link is bit.ly/solo collaborative. We'd love to have you in that group and help you grow your business side by side. Let's do this together. All right, my friends, until next week, I'll see you later. Have a great week. Bye-bye.